in this section of the bubbler greens washer videos, we are going to work with the drainage system to get the water out. I thought about several different ways to do this, but I'm choosing this way. The way I've chosen is because the it's not focusing. There it goes. The drains that are connected to the base will be able to be flush pretty much with the bottom of the tank. Let me pause this. In these tutorials, I have to make them as simple as I possibly can so everybody can understand. And if there's something that's not understood, you could ask a question and I'll make a subsequent video. Let's start on the left side. We got the drain that'll fit into the tank. This is a connector to go to PVC, a PVC pipe, a T, a coupling, a cap with Teflon tape wrapped around it. All of these parts are 1.5 inches. We'll need a hole saw bit, and then you'll need some PVC glue and a primer if you want to use that. Let's go into the components. Okay, this is 2 different parts. You got your drain, and then the drain to PVC pipe connector. So these will be in 2 different parts. I'm going to show you the bags and give you the parts numbers. These can be built, however you want to build it. I'm just giving you ideals on this one, because there's a lot of different ways to do the drains. But for the drain stopper, there's the part numbers right there. It looks like a 21871, and then there's a 681K. But I think this upper number, the 21871, is the one is the right one, and it's 110. Now, the one that Eric used had has a 4-way catch in the drain that catches debris, and he had to remove those. This one does not have that catch, so you actually he would have used these if he knew they existed. The adapter to go to the drain to the 1.5 inch PVC is this one, and here's I believe that's the part number, and so you can see it. Okay, I'll pause it and we'll get to the next part. If you're not familiar with how to drain or cut holes, this is the hole saw bit. This will put a pilot hole, and by using that on this hole saw, it keeps it from bouncing around. So you start by making a little pilot hole, and then after it goes through the metal, it'll hit these teeth, and it'll hold it from spinning around. And they're 2 different parts. You can probably buy them together, but this is kind of the adapter for any of them, and then you'll need one of these. This particular one, I don't think you can see the dimensions on it. Yeah, you can see it. It's 1 3/8, 35 millimeters. That looked like the best one to use. And when you use a hole saw bit, go ahead and take it in so it's kind of tight. Okay, and you see this little nipple here? You're going to back it off 1 and then click it in, and that locks it in, but it's loose, so when you're done you can pull it out. It'll make sense when you actually do the project. I chose to cut this length PVC pipe to 43 inches, but you'll have to do it according to how you want to do it. This is just an example. And then I'll have to cut a piece of PVC where the tape measure is to tie these together and over on the other end, but I'm not sure what length I want. When you buy the drains, they're going to come with a rubber plug to stop it. That's how Eric at Steadfast stops his. I would prefer to, let me get a pointer, to use I would prefer to use, let's see if we can see the stick, a ball valve at the edge on the left side or on the right, or both. But because of certain situations I'm in right now, I'm not going to put that on, and I will just use the rubber stops. But later I plan on attaching ball valves. So I can make a template on where exactly to put my holes and try to get them correct, I will glue the long PVC pipe to the T and to the other little short piece of PVC pipe, and I'll do the same on both sides. Let's take it to there, I'll get that glued together, and then I'll show you why. I wanted to make a note, cord got stuck, for you guys that, let me make sure you can see that. Okay, where the T is and the connector is, I made one an inch longer than the other. I'm going to slide this in here. That didn't want to go. And the reason is because it's to help when I install it underneath, it has to be set at an angle, or it needs to be so it's not holding water, it flushes all out. And depending which side, if you're draining on the right, then you'll switch this around so the right's lower. If you're draining on the left, switch it so the left is lower, and you can adjust it. There's room with these parts to adjust it even if you don't do that, but this will help. Oh, pause. So you guys are gonna have to thank my wife because she spent 50 bucks getting a little microphone so you guys could have a better video. It's our volunteer project, this, for all the small farmers. So I set it in here. Now it's sitting upside down. It'd actually be the other way and on the bottom of the tank, but right now it's going to act like the template on where to drill the holes, so they're drilled in the right spaces. So let's see if I can try to do this where you'll be able to see. I'm going to hold it so it doesn't move, and then I'll trace around it with a black Sharpie as best I could. Okay, and then I'll do the other side, and I'll pause it while I'm doing it. It was kind of difficult to trace with the other things in the way. Let's see. You can see now where to drill the hole, 1 and 2. So let's, I might just demonstrate one of the holes with a hole saw. Again, you're going to line this up with the circle as much as you can, and you're going to pierce it with a bit in the middle. Once that slides in, it'll lock it from moving around, and then you'll be able to slide through. I'll kind of demonstrate it for some people. Uh-oh, something went wrong. Guys, what happened is I was drilling and it caught and it bent a bit. You can probably see it looks like a banana, so that wasn't going to work. Fortunately, I have one other spare bit. So okay. Well, hopefully you won't bend your bits. I got one more to do, but maybe I won't videotape it because I might be embarrassed. Well, you guys, I went to drill the second hole and I ran into another problem, so I thought I'd share it with you. When I went in to drill, it started crawling. It wanted to move away. So what you can do in that situation is, this is called a punch. All it is like a chisel with a rounded point. You can see with my finger down. And I put that right about where I want it to drill. And then you just tap it a couple times. That'll help. that time I broke the bit altogether, but I got the hole done. But I can't finish it without another a bit to hold it, so I guess I'm just at a standstill. Okay, let's see what happens this time. Okay, I'll better. That metal's going to be sharp, and also there's all kinds of metal shavings that'll make great splinters. So make sure you clean it all up in the pan and on the ground with a shop vac. So at this point, I said shop vac inside here and on the ground real good, but it's also a good time to get a file and take off all the burrs. Yeah, you can see that. Take all the burrs on the top and underneath. Because when you're adjusting things later on, you don't want to slice yourself. Right now, when you have the burrs, it's almost like a razor blade. So the next thing is going to be the drains. Now, I chose that drain because it's going to be almost flush, maybe less than 1/8 of an inch above the bottom. You could also probably use a bulkhead fitting, but it won't sit as low. And, you know, with a bulkhead fitting, you can go with a much bigger diameter and flush this out really quick. You may want to use some plumber's putty on the drains. Let's see. So, and what you would, here, let me do it this way. You play with it and knead it for a little bit, a piece of it, and it'll get warm and pliable after you've played with it for a few minutes. If you don't know what it is, it's like Play-Doh almost. Then work it out into a piece, long, and then it's difficult to do this because I'm looking at the camera, but I feel. And then when I slide it into the holes, once I start screwing it in, it'll press it and it'll squeeze it out, and then you can cut it with a putty knife or butter knife or anything, the excess that comes out. So that's how the plumber's putty works. And we'll just put it in here. And once it gets tight, torqued down, it'll ooze out the excess. So now I will go in and you'll see how this works when you actually do it. I will slide the rubber sealer on from underneath the tank on the pipe or on the drain, and then there's a washer, and then this is the nut, and it'll sit like this. And now that it's been tightened up, that excess putty, as you can see, is kind of oozed out. You can just see it just pills up pretty easy. You take some of this to kind of cut it off. Okay, I'll do that to the other side, and then we will go underneath. I'll see if there's anything else I can show you that'd be pertinent. So I will put this pipe system underneath, and then this, I don't know what these are called, but it comes with the packet. It'll slide up the bottom of the that drain pipe. Actually, it's going to sit, I think, this way, okay? And then when this is screwed, this plastic nut to it, it'll press on this, and let me see if I can show you. This piece, it's at an angle. So, well, you know what, if you get it wrong, flip it around and it'll seal. But I believe that the skinny side, the sharp side should be up. So this will slide on your drain pipe, then this, which will actually hold it, and then you'll slide them back down onto here with the drain pipe wedged inside here. And then before you tighten it too tight, adjust your pitch. Remember, one of these pipes was an inch longer to give you a little extra play, because you're going to want to, again, angle it so it's just at a slight pitch. I'm going over dramatic, but maybe 1.5 inches from one end to the other, or an inch, so it'll get flow to the hose. Okay, let's pause. Actually, as soon as I looked at it, I realized this the where see how it V's again, that's actually going to go down. You'll see it when you actually do the project. So the last piece right here, I ended up making it 14 and a half. So it's coming out a little farther than I would have wanted to, and it'll sit kind of like that. But I did that because eventually I'll probably cut that end off and stretch it out and put in a ball valve to turn it on, open it and close it from the bottom instead of the drains. But where it's at right now, I want to do it this way until I get in a permanent the placement. The last thing I want to show on this is so it seals better, but also more importantly too, so it can come on and off without getting stuck. You need to wrap it with a few wraps of Teflon tape. So, and it just makes it so the threads will slip when you want to take it off or put it on. 2, 3, 4, 5. On the bigger pipes like this, I like to use the wider one. It's a 3/4 inch tape instead of the 1/2 inch. It's a little thicker. Okay, good luck on your project. Hopefully you can use certain parts of this and make one. I actually looked at a lot of different types, but I thought this one would work the best. I was more I felt better about this one than any of the other designs, so it was kind of pricey to build, but most of it actually didn't cost that much. All the wood and stuff was just leftover garbage, but it still costed maybe $300 to build. Okay. Well, it's getting late, and I almost forgot. The one more thing is, this is called plumber's tape, or on the box it says plumber's hanger strap. We call it plumber's tape typically. And you should probably use a piece of this to connect, to support the pipe on each end to the 2x4 frame. And I'll put it together and show you. You may, let's see if I can get that in focus, want to bend it over a little bit so the sharp end is underneath, so just to prevent anyone from getting cut. And then you want to hang it in a way that people are less likely to bump it and cut themselves, because it is kind of sharp. Okay, so that'll be the last tech tip of the day, to see if you can. Well, I'll finish screwing this and we'll look at a different angle. Okay, let me bring the camera around. Actually, I'll pause it. Okay, you can see this. You can see the strap right there, and it just tied in on top. So that is a 20-minute video. That was long-winded. I don't know if editing this, how much I could edit, because there's every minute, every few seconds has something worthwhile. Okay.